Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Catherine's podcast. This is the second installment of Catherine's podcast. Today, I am joined by my good friend Katie, and we are going to be talking about veganism, the diet, and if it is or is not a beneficial diet for anybody. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to start off with some tunes. We got Jack Johnson queued up, Banana Pancakes. Although they are not vegan, they can be substituted with some applesauce. Let's get right into it. So, just to give a little insight, I am pro-veganism. I'm not a vegan myself, but I do think it is a beneficial diet. There's so many benefits, and it's such a good, healthy lifestyle to follow. It does take some time to perfect, and it may seem daunting in the beginning, but I promise it is not that overwhelming once you get into a good mindset and have a good schedule. Now, Katie is going to explain her opinions on veganism. Hey everybody, so my name is Katie, and I do not think that veganism is a beneficial diet because it takes so long to get into that rhythm, and sometimes when you get into the rhythm, it doesn't even work out. Like, you don't get enough nutrients, and your body almost goes into shutdown, and you get really very skinny. It's really hard to follow, and meat is just so good, so why would I not eat meat? You know, Katie, I totally agree. Some great points were made there. We're just going to get things started. We're going to go off my first point here. I think that veganism is beneficial because it is so good for the environment. There are so many ways to reduce your carbon footprint, and one of those ways is to become a vegan. There are so many greenhouse gases produced by cows, by other animals, and it's not good for the environment. So I think that adopting a vegan lifestyle, number one, or a vegan diet especially, will just make climate change less of a threat and hopefully will limit the effects long term of climate change. You know, Catherine, I never really thought about it that way. I just thought that veganism was people that cared more about animals than they did about people. But, you know, I think that's really a good idea. But I still have some thoughts about veganism and how it's not beneficial. Katie, that is an excellent point. I totally understand where you're coming from. I once thought the same as you, and then I just did some research. Because let's say we change our diets completely, and we go from eating a steak a week, so that's one meal, that's one dinner of steak, and then all of a sudden vegan. That steak is gone. What do? We replace it. We can replace it with a soy product like tempeh or tofu, and it can taste just like steak. It can even have the same texture depending on what you do with it. Or you can maybe have some vegetable or plant protein. There's so many different options that you can do. And one of my favorite parts is it is cost effective, which brings me to my next point. One of the best things about adopting a vegan lifestyle and a vegan diet is not having to pay for meat. You go to the supermarket. Anymore, meat is so expensive. It's on average $7 a pound. And you know how much tofu is, which would be a meat alternative? It is $2.52 a pound. That is much cheaper. And with the money that you save from not purchasing meat and purchasing these meat alternatives, you can spend on vegetables. You can spend on different supplements, which you will need as a vegan. But it is just so much better for you, so much better for your wallet. Your wallet will be thanking you at the end of the day. But I want to talk to you a little bit about supplements as well. Yeah, I just don't understand how you can adopt a vegan lifestyle and a vegan diet, but there's so many different things that you're lacking. Like you're lacking vitamin B12 that only comes from animals, and you're lacking vitamin D and omega-3s because omega-3s come from fish oil. It's just, I don't understand it. How are you going to get all this? And it must be expensive, right? Katie, I must admit, these supplements are not the cheapest thing on the market right now. But what the best thing about being a vegan is, in my opinion, one of the best things, which I will get back into later, is the responsibility that you will have to take in order to get all of your nutritional needs met. Because if you go to a restaurant, you are going to spend upwards of $20 for just a regular meal, because they are trying to cater to the majority, and the majority of people that eat at restaurants are not vegan. If you go to a vegan restaurant, they're going to be even higher, because they're most likely using organic and very good quality food. So the best thing you can do is stay at home as much as you can. Make sure that you're prepping your food as often as you can. Let me talk about that a little more. One of the most important things is making sure that you are prepping your own meals, because if you do not do that, you will fall behind. You will not make yourself time in the week to make your own food, because it's just not going to happen. Because every person needs at least 30 minutes of activity a day to meet anywhere from 1,600 to 3,000 calorie intake daily, which means that you have to make sure you're eating every meal. You have to make sure you're getting outside and using this energy to your advantage. But if you are going out all the time, you are not only draining your bank account, but you're also not taking full responsibility, and you are not making sure that you're meeting this calorie level and making sure that you are just being the best version of your nutritional self. Oh, I understand what you're saying, because with the money that you save, you can spend on other things that you'll wind up needing. I understand that, but I'm very concerned how I'm going to be able to go out to a restaurant and hang out with my friends, and all of a sudden I can't even eat anything on the menu. You see, that's where that food prep comes in. Granted, you can't go out as often as you most likely would like to. Granted, we can't really go out anywhere right now. You can't really go out as much as you'd like to, because there aren't that many options for you, which is where, again, meal prep comes in. That is so important. And one of the best things about it is that you will not be eating such bad foods for you, like Cheetos with fake cheese, or Oreos with fake milk, or chips with how much oil? Very bad for you. But by meal prepping and by making sure you're meeting all of your food pyramid goals, you will abstain from eating bad food. Catherine, those are excellent points. I totally understand where you're coming from now. I support veganism now. I'm not sure if I'll be ready to take it up yet, but I do think that it is a good diet and it is beneficial for many people, because if you take into account the environmental factors, the personal factors that will affect your health, how your body will just, not only will I be thinner, but I'll also feel better. My chance of contracting a serious illness so much lower because of how much good food I'm putting in my body. And honestly, my life is a mess right now. I really need to get organized, and being vegan will help me organize so much. Now that I'm talking, maybe I will become vegan. Katie, that is so funny. Thank you so much for that little tidbit. Maybe we will take up this vegan pack together, because I don't know about you, I've been putting on that quarantine 15. Anyways, that's about all the time we've got for today. Just want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Spotify, for sponsoring this podcast episode. Make sure that you get your Spotify Premium, $1 a month for 3 months. Go take up that offer as soon as you can. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you next week on Catherine's Podcast.